But you mentioned the Panthers possibly winning the division this year. Very interesting, specifically in relation to the Saints, because the Panthers and the Saints both finished 5-12 this year, so last year. So, talking about progression, kind of really night and day. Where after a 5-12 season, the Saints are just looking to get maybe like 7-10, 8-9, just kind of have some stability. Meanwhile, the Panthers go from 5-12 immediately into a playoff spot. However, last year they definitely set the benchmark for where they really need to improve to win that division, and that's with Bryce Young. Bryce Young obviously struggled last year. Could you talk about where his struggles were the biggest and what kind of caused it to kind of his season with the Panthers kind of derail a little bit?
Yeah, so my biggest hang-up with Bryce Young as a prospect when he was coming out, and why I didn't have him as my QB1 in that class, and I like Stroud better, is that he really struggled under pressure. It seemed like whenever a guy got in his face, his accuracy would dip immensely. Like, he was super sharp at the clean pocket or on a designed rollout, but once pressure came in, he looked like a completely different quarterback, and we saw that all of 2023 and through the first weeks of 2024, that when he was pressured, he was just horrible, just downright bad. One of the worst QBs we've seen in the NFL in a long time, right? But gets benched. Dave Canales, the quarterback whisperer, reels him in and says, hey, we're just going to put a veteran out there, let him see how he operates instead of just trusting everything with you right now, and then you'll have your shot later this year and we'll work it out when we work it out. And that's exactly what happened. From week 8 to 18, after being renamed the starter, there were 28 quarterbacks with 200 dropbacks in that span. His rankings, he was 6th in passing grade at 83.7, which is great. 2nd in total big-time throws at 26. He was 1st in big-time throw rate at 7.7%, which is stupid high. He had the 12th lowest turnover-worthy play rate at 2.3%. And like some people say, well, he was dinking and dunking, like whatever. No, he had the 6th highest average depth of target at 9.3. Like, he was firing the ball downfield. He had the 5th lowest pressure to sack rate at 14.9, which again, something he struggled with. I believe he had one of the highest pressure to sack rates in 2023. And he was 4th in scrambles. So even though he was doing really good passing and mitigating pressure, he still scrambled a decent amount and knew when to scramble, which is a big difference. And if we want to look at those numbers versus pressure, where he drops off and struggles with, he was 3rd in passing grade against pressure at 73.9, 2nd in big time throws at 11, 4th in big time throw rate at 9.4, which the number is naturally going to go up when you're under pressure because that's when big time throws happen, but still good to see an increase there. He ended up having the 4th lowest turnover worthy play rate at 2.4, again, where he used to rank the highest against pressure. He was protecting the ball better. 3rd highest in average depth of target, scrambles, and first downs at 13, 23, and 46 respectively, like night and day. And when Bryce Young is on, the rest of this team is on. And we saw that towards the end of last year. And I mean, they knocked the Cardinals out of the playoffs. They competed with the Chiefs and competed with the Eagles. Both are Super Bowl teams. And they added to this defense and they added to this offense. Like, sky's the limit for this team if Bryce Young plays the way he did in the back half of last year, which I think he's going to, and he's honestly might even play a little bit better.
Can we bring up your dark horse a little bit early, because it does have to do with Bryce Young? Yeah, your dark horse is wide receiver Jalen Coker. So you, how does Jalen Coker help Bryce Young kind of hit those goals that you want him to set in 2025?
Yeah, the Holy Cross alum was known for being a contested catch guy, go up and get a guy, but he's a really good intermediate route runner, like post, digs, comebacks, curls, like that's his bread and butter. So he threatens you with the deep ball and being able to go up and get it, and that allows him to use his speed out of breaks to get open on those intermediate routes. And he came alive when Bryce Young returned as a starter. And we're just looking at team ranks, not at the NFL, but on the Panthers themselves, okay? When Bryce Young came back from week 8 to week 18, Coker was tied 4th with 29 targets, 2nd with 308 yards. He was 1st with 18.1 yards per reception. He was 2nd with 1.83 yards per route run, which I don't love that, but let the other numbers speak for themselves. He was 2nd in the 13.1 average depth of target. He was third with 112 yards after catch, second with 6.6 yards after catch per reception, fourth with 11 first downs, and third with a 103.8 passer rating when targeted. That ranked ahead of Xavier Legette, his wide receiver 2 competition this year. He ranked ahead of him in everything except average depth of target, which that just shows Coker is able to make similar plays to Legette and do more with it and play a similar role that Legette does. Like, I think if the Panthers trade Adam Thielen back to the Vikings because the Vikings need receiver help, Legette's going to plug in at the slot. Ted McMillan's going to be the X. And then, or T-Mac or Tatoria McMillan's going to be the X. And then Jalen Coker is going to be the Z, which is, he is perfect for that position in the NFL. And I think he's going to have a big year. I think he's going to be second on this team in targets throughout the entire season. I really like him. And he's going undrafted in some leagues. And in other dynasty leagues, he's not even picked up. So if you're wide receiver needy, or you just need a guy to take a shot on late in your drafts, take Jalen Coker, because he is in for a big sophomore season, especially with that connection he has with Bryce Young.
Can we give a quick shout out to that 2023 Holy Cross football team?
Oh my God.
That team had some dogs. And look, I'm saying that as a Fordham fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for anyone who watches FCS football, like, you should know, I'm giving credit. Holy Cross is obviously my school's biggest rival. I do kind of try to give them some credit because my sister actually is a Holy Cross alum. So the Basel family is a bit split in that regard. But yeah, I saw Jalen Coker play at Fordham in 2023 in a 49-47 shootout, which actually saw Matt Sluka, the QB1 at the time. He actually was on the bench for most of the game. Like, he got some rushing plays in, but it was Joe Pisanski that actually started that game. But yeah, between Jordan Fuller, Matt Sluka, Jalen Coker, that team had some
nuts. Jordan Fuller was a freak.
Yeah, he's at James Madison now, actually.
Really? Oh, he followed Chesney. That's why.
Yeah. He was at James Madison?
I think
he's at James Madison now. Yeah.
He is. Okay, I thought he was out of eligibility, I guess.
He played 4 years at Holy Cross, and now he got another year at
James. Good for him. That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, watch FCS football. It's good.
There's some studs there. Like Jalen Coker.
Yeah.
We went to week 1 against Merrimack his senior year, and he had 3 head tops for touchdowns in the first half. I've never seen a receiver have granted, yes, it's FCS football, so you can say the talent's a little bit lacking, but I've never seen a receiver at any level just have so much confidence and perfect pacing on jump balls the way Jalen Coker did. He's sick. But I appreciate you bringing the dark horse up early because, this offense is going to run through, obviously, T-Mac and Chuba Hubbard, but Jalen Coker is a sneaky third option on this team, and I think he'll be second in targets.
So, keeping the side tangent going, you saw that when you saw Holy Cross versus Merrimack, you went to the stadium at Holy Cross?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome stadium.
It is.
Let's get back to the Panthers. Let's talk about the defense. Obviously, the offense, Bryce Young and Jalen Coker can only do so much if the defense is not allowing them to kind of get in comfortable situations. So where do you feel like they could step up the most in 2025 to give the offense the most cushion?
I think your veterans have to come back and play well. Derek Brown was one of the best defensive tackles in the year and had a torn meniscus. So he needs to have a strong season coming back from that. He doesn't need to be the same Derek Brown, but if he can be 80 to 90%, that's still a top 15 defensive tackle in the league, right? And he plays not exclusively nose, but he plays more nose than almost everyone except Dexter Lawrence, and he's damn good at it. He's sick. JC Horn is another guy. Looked solid in 2022 and 2023, and actually looked really good in 2023 when he came back from a hamstring injury, but he looked bad in 2024, got exposed a lot. And if you look at those early Panthers games when guys are just burning him, like Chris Olave's burning him, and some other big time receivers, JC Horn was the guy in coverage. And I was shocked seeing that because he's not a guy to do that as often as he did. And he needs to bounce back and have a really good 2025. And that could have just been adjustment. They might have been playing defense a little bit differently, where after his hamstring, They probably had him playing a little bit simpler coverages where last year they were, they wanted to lock up a little bit more or play more complicated zone match drops. But either way, both of those two need to come back strong for 2025. And these young guys need to play well. They drafted 2 good edges in Nick Skirton and Princely Umanamalian. And then Trevin Wallace, who they took in last year's class, looks like he's going to be the starting linebacker. So those 3 young guys could all get starting reps early, and they need to capitalize on them because we talk about Super Bowl windows and contracts. Bryce Young is still on his rookie deal. He's probably not going to get as big of a deal as like guys like Brock Purdy, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love have gotten, but he's still going to get a good contract. So how can you leverage? And honestly, if I were the Panthers, I would backload the shit out of that and say, look, we're building this roster. I would pay as many good guys as we can. Bryce, we need you to punt your money towards the back half of your deal. So this way we can build around you because you're a good quarterback. Let's make this happen, right? So they need to use all these young guys and leverage them with the veterans to make a good, sound defense. And I don't think this defense is going to be good. Like they were one of the worst defenses last year and were bad even in that week 8 to 18 stretch. But at least be serviceable, at least be slightly around average, right? Because if you do that, this team makes the playoffs, I believe. And if we want to look at that 2024 defense, they were the worst in EPA per play allowed, second worst in EPA per dropback allowed, and then they were the worst in EPA per rush, success rate, dropback success rate, and rush success rate allowed across the league. And from week 8 to 18, they were the worst in EPA per play, EPA per rush, success rate, and rush success rate. And then their pass defense slightly improved. They were 7th in success rate and EPA per dropback allowed in the pass game. So really bad last year. They're bringing some guys back. They should slightly improve. And if they can get to around the average to below average range, and this offense plays the way I think they can play, this is a playoff team.
Yeah. And the burning question, obviously, if they can get themselves to a playoff team, it'll probably be from winning the division. So the burning question I want to ask in 2 parts: do you feel like this Panthers team can win the division? And if so, is it going to have to come from basically going 6-0 in division games?
Yeah, I think they can win the division. And I think their only real competition is the Bucks. Like, I like the Falcons, but I think there's a lot of the offense is good, and just like the Panthers, they have a lot of young guys on defense. But I think the young guys they have on defense have more question marks in terms of scheme fit and health and longevity than the Panthers do. Like, the Panthers aren't as deep, but I think they have guys who are going to be longtime starters, where the Falcons have guys who are going to be longtime role players, if that makes sense. And I think that's going to give them firepower as long as they stay healthy. If 1 or 2 of these starters on the Panthers goes down, they're not making the playoffs. Sorry. And they're definitely not winning the division. But let's say if the Buccaneers take a step back, right? Let's say the offense doesn't click the way it should, and the defense doesn't take that step forward under Todd Bowles that we're expecting them to. The Saints flounder like I expect the Saints are going to do this year. I think they're going to be a bottom 5 team in the league. Then you have just the Falcons to worry about. And if Michael Penix Jr. doesn't take that next step and improve on his connection with Drake London, that means the defense is going to tailor towards Bijan Robinson, so he's not going to be as productive. And that's going to give the Panthers – and the Panthers also play a last-place schedule. Like, they have a relatively easy schedule compared to everyone else and can win some games that obviously the other teams don't have on the schedule where they're playing tougher teams. So I think that's why, like, record – I don't think they're going to be better than some of these divisional teams in their division, but I think they have an easier schedule, which will lead to a better record. And I don't think they have to go 6-0, but I think they have to go at minimum 4-2 in the division.